how well they're fulfilling their statement, that I'm unable to speak to well. But I will say, as a Peace Corps volunteer, I've worked in areas where freedom of the press has not been universally adhered to. Freedom of the press, to me, is the very best guarantor of democracy. If we have an informed electorate, then we're going to have a much better government. And I thank you for hosting this forum.
Well, thank you. Now we're going to move into the kind of a debate phase. I would like to give each one of the candidates the opportunity to ask the other two candidates a question. In this case, we're going to start from the other end, from our viewing left with Tom Schrunk. We'd like you to ask Ms. Lynn Torkelson and Mr. Mike Calvin a question that they will answer. They each have 3 minutes to answer the question, and we will then move down the line and let each candidate ask the other two candidates a question. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Donald. I have, as part of my campaign, what I call my pledge to the citizens. It's 10 points that I believe are the fundamentals for how a legislator should conduct him or herself. And I'm going to be asking of my compatriots here various parts of this pledge to the citizens and get their responses as to whether they would support this or not. Lynn, judges recuse themselves before hearing a case if they or someone they know has a special interest in the outcome of the case. And this is to ensure justice for all that are involved. I feel we should ask the same of our legislators. My pledge is, I will recuse myself from sponsoring, voting on, or adding amendments to any legislation which directs benefits to anyone who gives me more money than that allowed by the ordinary citizen. Will you accept this pledge?
I guess I don't fully understand the question. If you could maybe explain what you mean by money more than the ordinary citizen.
The ordinary citizen is allowed $2,400 in donations. We see PACs, we see lobbyists. There's ways to get more money to Congress, to legislators, than is allowed by the, than is the limit for the ordinary citizen. This corruption is a strong word to use, but nothing else really describes this facet of the way that our government operates. I think it's time to bring it to a stop, and this is my way of saying, let's stop it here. Let's draw a line in the sand. If any corporation, if any individual is trying to buy influence, let's recuse ourselves from doing anything having to do with that law.
I will respond as best as I can. I still don't fully understand the question. I don't have a problem accepting money from PACs, if that's what you're talking about. PACs are political action committees. Frequently, PACs, political action committees, support candidates who have similar interests and to help, if I stand for particular positions, people are going to support me and they're going to donate to my campaign. So I don't plan, because I believe in those issues, just because people support me through political action committees and things of that nature, I wouldn't recuse myself from voting on laws in that regard. I don't think that that's really possible as a legislature, because our job is to draft laws and either vote for them or against them. I would note, however, that I'm not a person who can be bought. I'm running as a stateswoman, as versus a politician. A stateswoman is somebody who stands for something, for what is right, regardless of the cost. I believe that the positions that I've taken in my platforms actually establish that. So that's as best as answer as I can give.
Okay, Mike Kaplan, would you like to respond to that question?
I'd love to respond to that question. And Tom, I understand your question exactly. And again, to quote from the best journalist that this country will never hire, Greg Paul asked, we have the best democracy that money can buy. I will take your statement and go even a step further. I refuse to accept PACs or any. Well, I refuse to accept PAC monies with the understanding that no PAC will ever give our campaign money, specifically because we're opposed to the issue of corporate corruption of our democracy. And to even go a step further with that, one of the groups of PACs is the trade union movements. And I'm saying this as a trade union activist, and I'm watching these trade union PACs continue to back the Democratic Party while the Democratic Party is shooting them in the back. From the not backing the Free Employment Act to the end of Taft-Hartley. I mean, issue after issue after issue. NAFTA, GATT, the IMF, all these issues that are very important to trade union activists, and yet the trade union PACs will not back independent candidates. So I actually put it a step further. I say that it should be the responsibility of the members of those organizations, not the PACs themselves who decide where the money goes, but the members themselves, trade unions, whoever, should be supporting this campaign. So I refuse PACs as a matter of guiding principle because I do not want this pseudo-democracy that we have right now to be corrupted any further. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kaplan. Ms. Torkelson, your question for both the candidates, and we'll have Mr. Mike Kaplan respond first, and then Tom Shrunk to follow up after that. Thank you.
Well, I do want to, I guess I don't have a particular, or my particular question is actually for Mr. Ellison.
Feel free.
Okay.
Feel free, please.
Thank you. Thank you. I
Please.
appreciate that. Mr. Ellison has associated himself with the Council on American Islamic Relations, whose leaders, which is spelled CAIR and stands for the Council on American Islamic Relations, whose leaders and founders have been quoted as saying things like, Muslims who stay in America should be open to society without melting, keeping mosques open so anyone can come and learn about Islam. If you choose to live here, you have a responsibility to deliver the message of Islam. Islam isn't in America to be equal to any other faith, but to become dominant. The Quran, the Muslim book of scripture, should be the highest authority in America, and Islam the only accepted religion on earth. So my question to Mr. Ellison is what should be supreme, what law should be supreme in the United States? Should it be the U.S. Constitution, which is the foundation of the United States, or should it be Sharia law, given that that's the position in his faith or his political ideology, or Sharia law, and as well as those who he associates himself with?
Okay, since Mr. Ellison is not here, Congressman Ellison is not here, are there any thoughts from either the other two candidates on this subject or this question that Ms. Torkelson posed to Congressman Ellison? We'll start with you, Mr. Mike Kaplan.
Mr. Ellison, to my right here, has no comment on the question.
Okay.
I will be actually very happy and glad to answer that question in a way that you may not like to hear, Lynn, but nonetheless, one thing I believe in somebody who believes in having the courage and strength and integrity to say your speech, your piece, your truth. I just returned just now from a rally 4 blocks that way at the FBI headquarters because the FBI has been targeting peace activists in this town. They've been targeting peace activists standing up on the issue of Palestinian rights, the rights of people in Colombia to organize trade unions, and others. And I say that we need to stand up for everybody's right. More than that, though, quite frankly, and I say this as somebody who is a very proud Irish American. I'm an Irish American who is a Catholic, who actually lived in Northern Ireland, who has lived in a society which has suffered from political and religious bigotry. That I think we need to stand up for all forms of bigotry and intolerance, be they religious or be they political. So I will fight for the rights of all Americans to be heard. And quite frankly, to hear terms like this being used is repulsive to me as an individual, as an Irish Catholic, and as an American citizen. I believe that we have the right to stand up for all Americans. The Constitution and the Bill of Rights is not just for good white Christians. It's the Constitution for the people of the United States of America, and that's what I proudly will stand up and defend for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tom Schrank.
If I am elected, I will take an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Thank you. Mr. Mike Kavlin, do you have a question for the other two candidates?
Absolutely. And again, given that what I just said about just coming from a rally, for peace and justice activists who are being targeted by the FBI as we speak on this day to do a grand jury hearings where you have your rights thrown out as human beings and as activists. My question is that I'm asking each of the people here now that if you're elected to Congress, will you stand up and defend the Constitution and the Bill of Rights for all Americans, irregardless of whatever views they have? Do you believe that it's only a Constitution and Bill of Rights for people of your political persuasion and your particular religious views, or do all Americans have the right to have that Constitution and Bill of Rights?
And we'll start with Ms. Lynn Torkelson, please.
Thank you. Thank you for that question, Mr. Kavlin. I want to respond with, and what I feel is kind of my, part of my platform is to educate the public on the issue of political ideological Islam. All of Islam is not a religion. Only a part of Islam is a religion, and that is the worship of the moon god Allah. The remainder of Islam is actually known as Sharia law and is not religion, and it is not protected under the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. And I need to reiterate that I have been defending the Constitution for over 20 years in my practice of law. So what I'm talking about is not the religion part of Islam, but the political, ideological part of Islam. And it's important because of the world's 1.2 billion Muslims, it's estimated that 12 to 15% have been radicalized. This comes up to a rough number of 150 million radicalized Muslims. That is roughly half of the population of the entire United States. And we need to recognize that radical Islam comes in two forms. One is standard terrorism with the blowing up of planes, trains, and automobiles. The other part is more hidden, and some people refer to it as stealth jihad. We have radical Islamists moving to the United States, getting jobs, becoming involved in politics, and their desire is to take over the United States from within. They wish to eliminate our cherished U.S. Constitution as well as our other freedoms and replace them with Sharia law. Sharia law is one of the most intolerant forms of government in existence. Radical Islamists need to be exposed and stopped, and I am the person to do this, not the incumbent, Keith Ellison, who actually closely associates himself with radical Islamists and named co-conspirators to funding terrorism. Specifically, he helps CARE raise funds, and CARE helps Keith Ellison raise funds. And CARE was a named co-conspirator to funding terrorism in the recent Holy Land trial down in Texas. And they were convicted of sending $12 million to the terrorist organization Hamas. So what I am talking about has nothing to do with race or religion. It has to do with a hostile political ideology called Sharia law. Thank you.
Mr. Tom Strunk, please.
I spent 2 years in India with the Peace Corps. I was raising chickens for John Kennedy, as we would say. During that time, I worked with Hindus, Sikhs, Jains, Muslims, Christians, Parsis, you name it. My purpose in